It's a bit of a two-sided coin, really, isn't it? Because there's disappointment in the fact that obviously Dill's my guy, and I want him to. He wanted the fight when it could come, and wanted to get that revenge back quickly, and get on with things and move forward, and hopefully, obviously, move quicker into next year and kind of go for that WBC. But him then not being on the card then draws more light to me and the other fighters and stuff. So it's in half and half. Like on that side, yeah, I'd much rather him obviously he'd be here and get what he wants out of it as well. But a silver lining to it with him not being here is that myself up and coming, I get more exposure and kind of get more time to showcase myself. So yeah, it's good. I get more eyes on me.
Obviously, last time out you won the English title. How pleased are you in this pandemic era to be staying active?
Yeah, I'm buzzing. Like I'm fortunate. I'm really fortunate to be starting to deal where he's able to be able to put together things like that where I can be fighting, because there's boxers that I know and stuff that haven't fought in over a year, and they probably won't fight for at least probably another 6 months, something like that, and that's painful. That hurts. That's no income. That's no money. That's ring rust. That's not practicing your craft, and it's a long time out of the game. So I feel extremely fortunate to just be able to even be on a show and regardless, and then I'm lucky enough to obviously be on live on Sky Sports and part of Matchroom and things like that. So yeah, I'm really happy with how everything's going.
You mentioned how things are going. What's the plan for the next 12 months? Are you looking to be fast tracked? Are you looking at British title, or are you looking at further than that in the next 12 months?
I think British title is a good aim. A good aim kind of by mid to late next year, really, and just kind of finish up with that, because ultimately I'm still very, very new to this. I'm only 9 fights in so far. I've still got a lot of learning time. Well, the circumstances are different now, where a lot, because of everything that's going on in the world, them kind of building fights aren't available as much as they were before. So you do have to kind of, like you'll see with this fight with Lartey, I'm taking more of a risk in a bigger fight than maybe I don't need to step up this high just yet, but I'm happy to do so. And that's the kind of level I want to keep moving at, is a nice high level, still testing me, still pressuring me, but still enough that I can get from it to still be able to learn my craft and kind of build.
Is Lartey a step up from your last outing in Vallely on paper? Is he better than Vallely, do you think?
Probably not on paper, no. Probably if you lined kind of their backgrounds up and where they were set to go, then no, probably not. Probably you'd probably say that Vallely was supposed to be the bigger and better guy, and he would have been more of the test. But it's just they're different. They're different tests. Vallely was more of a pure boxing test. Now I'm in there someone with like Lartey, who's rough, who's rugged, who doesn't come to roll over. He comes to swing for the fences and take your head off. And that's something new for me entirely. I haven't faced that yet. So it's a different test, but it's still just as difficult.
And the last one from me, your name seemed to be linked with Dave Allen's potentially for the British title down the road. Obviously, just recently announced his retirement. He was meant to be on the card as well. Just a reaction from you on Dave Allen's retirement.
I'm happy for him. I am happy for him. It's a shame because Dave could have done quite well in the sport, but I think to his own admission, he was very 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of thing with it, and he didn't always commit himself, didn't always put himself through, and I think that showed a lot in his performances and the things that he did, but which has now taken a toll on him, which I think that you can see that it's the right time for him to hang up the gloves. Even if not, if anything, probably people would have been shouting at him to say it sooner. Probably people closer to him would have said to him, maybe it's time to go. Save yourself. Have a good life. Have some longevity, and just kind of enjoy it, as opposed to really running yourself through the mill and coming out the other end and not being able to function properly. So happy retirement to Dave. I'm happy for him.
Perfect. Very best of luck. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, bud. Thank you.
Thanks, James. If we pass to Andy from Boxing Social, please.
Oh, Fabio, can you hear me?
Andy.
How you doing, mate? Unfortunately, I'm not Rob, but you'll see plenty of him later this week.
I'm sick of him already, mate. He won't stop messing.
Fabio, just picking up on something you mentioned in your last, with the last person you spoke to there, with regards to your fights moving forward, do you feel a pressure at all to kind of step up maybe a little bit quicker than what you may have anticipated at this stage of your career, because we are in a pandemic and fight fans and want to see more evenly matched fights to keep themselves entertained, and not certainly promoters are looking to try and make more evenly matched fights. Do you feel a pressure to continue to do so?
Slightly, yeah. I feel there's a level of responsibility. I think if with everything going on, if I'm one of the ones fortunate enough to at least be able to fight and just be on a show where a lot of boxers and a lot of people can't even fight, or they're not even able to get on a show, that I should at least be stuck into a fight where there's a good chance of it going one way or the other, kind of thing. I think that I owe that much to, well, not just me, but we as boxers, we owe that much to the fans to be able to give that kind of entertainment back to them. So yeah, there's a slight pressure to it, but it's not too much. It's enough that I need to be in something competitive, and that's where I want to be anyway. Regardless of whether all this was going on in the world or not, I'd still want to be at this stage of my career in them good competitive fights. So it just comes together, to be honest.
We know with Richard Lartey, he's just recently fought Nathan Gorman, went the distance, previously stopped by Daniel Dubois inside 4 rounds. For yourself, what's your mentality going into this fight? Is it simply just produce better than what Nathan Gorman did, or are you looking to make an even bigger statement and finish him earlier than what Daniel Dubois did when they fought?
My focus on this fight is to perform as best as I can for me. As long as I come out with it, and whether I get him out in 1 round, whether I don't get him out at all when it goes the distance, as long as me and my team are comfortable with the performance, and I felt like I got some more experience there, or I learned what I needed to learn, I went through some different things. As long as that's how we come out on the end product of, I'm happy with it, because obvious comparisons are going to come, because obviously me, Nathan, and Daniel are in similar realms, similar levels, and obviously we're going to have all fought the same opponent. So that's going to be such an obvious thing to make of the, oh well, this one did that and this one did that, and that's how they looked. But it's not that cut and dry, because especially with them two, I'm taking this fight for one earlier than they did in their careers, and then if you add that as well, in terms of just general experience, those guys were GB amateurs, and they had however many amateur fights, and part of that stable up there, and was really kind of honed onto their boxing skills. So if you wanted to make them comparisons, I think at least if you do that, give it the full breadth of saying, well, I started here and I took it then. So if anything, I'm taking this fight a lot earlier than the pair of them did. But regardless of the outcome, as long as I do what I'm comfortable doing and I get the experience I felt needed, I'm happy with that, however it goes.
Fabio, final thing from me. This time round, you'll be boxing indoors. Obviously, at Fight Camp, it was outdoors. Have you kind of been trying to prepare for that experience? I imagine it'll be very different to that Fight Camp experience, even though it was behind closed doors.
No, nothing too different. I think sometimes you can get lost in it too much if you think about every little detail too much. If you think, oh, it's outside this time, oh, there's no fans, there's this, there's that. I think it can play on your mind a lot, whereas I choose to just take everything as it comes. I'll roll with the punches, as cliche as it sounds, kind of thing. I'll just take it for what it is. And I've boxed indoors before, so that's not a big deal. The only difference is there's no crowd there now, and I've done no crowd already, so it's something I'm fine with.
All right, Fabio, appreciate that. I'll let you enjoy your time with Rob later this week, and obviously speak to the rest of the guys.
Cheers, bud. Catch you in a bit, mate.
Bye.
Cheers, Andy. If you go to Ames from Boxing News TV next, please.
Here for Boxing News TV. Pleasure to speak to you again, Fabio. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thanks for asking. We saw you last in against Simon Vallely, and after that, there was this itch, it seems, from yourself and Dillian White to get you back in straight away. And there was also that want from the boxing public to see you again almost straight away. That must have been nice to receive that, people noticing you and wanting to see more.
Yeah, it was. It was a real nice thing that when I got home from fight camp and stuff, and there was still a lot of talk about my performance, how I did and how I performed, and wanting to see me again and stuff. It's it's nothing but nice to hear. And it would have been great to get out a second time at fight camp, but it just didn't come off, unfortunately.
I saw that a couple of weeks back, the Friday Hustle. You were sparring with Joe Joyce recently. What did you learn from being in the ring with Joe?
Joe's great to spar with. Because the thing is with sparring heavyweights, a lot of them, especially when they're in the early parts of their camp and stuff, the spar can get very slow and heavy very on and very laboured, because obviously they're big guys that you're sparring with. But with Joe, he's got such an engine that he just keeps going all the way through. So he's a great person to spar with, to really kind of push yourself through and put yourself through them paces, because he doesn't stop punching. So either you need to meet him for that, or you're going to stand there and get punched in a bit. So it was a great spar. It was really good. And obviously now I've had the pleasure of sparring both him and Daniel, so it's been good.
How would you like to approach this fight going in with Richard? I mean, are you looking to slug it out? He likes to slug out, as we saw with the fight with Dubois. Or do you want to show off more of your boxing skill? What's the approach that you have going into this one?
I want to mix it around a bit, because I think, one, I still have some questions that I think are there over my head, kind of thing, with people that need answering about whether, if I do stand there and slug it out and go toe to toe with a heavyweight that can bang, how the kind of chin test, and how will I stand up against that? How will I do? So I'm looking to answer some of those questions, definitely. And then I'm looking to get back to my boxing and show that I'm not just this kid that came from white collar that can scrap through, that I can really box, that I can move, I can fight intelligently. So it's going to be a mix of both, really.
And as my colleague Andy was saying, could you elaborate a little bit more about, one, this being a bit of a step up for you, and two, well, is there that personal goal maybe for you to better the way that Dubois and Gorman beat him?
Yeah, again, it's the same thing, really. Like, them comparisons between me, Nathan and Daniel are always going to come. They came even before that I was fighting Lartey, that we were on similar trajectories. But again, it's the same thing. All I need to be focused on is myself and my own development. Them guys aren't worried about me, and I'm not worried about them. They didn't go into their fights thinking about me for any reason, and I'm not going to do the same. Their performances, how they did or whatever, are for them. They're their own thing. My performance, how well I do against him, is for me as well. Was for me to take different things. Styles make fights. Me, Nathan, and Daniel all fight very differently. We're all very different fighters. So it's not always as clear cut to say, oh, well, if he got him out in 2, then that means he's better than him, or just because Nathan went the distance, that means he's not as good as so-and-so. I don't think that's a fair assumption to make on anyone. I think you take it for what it is for that fight, is that I beat Richard. That's all I can get from that fight.
And 2 more questions for me. I just want to get your opinion on this bridgerweight division. You've weighed in and around what the weight they'd be looking for competitors in that division. Is that something that kind of interests you?
No, not in the slightest. I feel it's a good idea, but I don't know. I just feel like it's going to take some time for it to take, almost, because no one's going to, I don't know any heavyweight now that would be boxing that will say, you know what, I want to trim a few pounds and then I'm going to go for the bridgerweight title. No one's going to do that. It doesn't have that kind of connection to it. There's no pull factor. There's no grasp with it that makes you want to go and do it. It almost does feel borderline gimmicky, and it's in the very early stages. So I think that's kind of given. That's going to come. So maybe in a few years' time, when it's more fleshed out and there's more to it, then it may be kind of more endearing for people to want to go towards. But at the moment, I have no interest in it.
And finally, for me, you had a bit of fun last time. You donned the mustache for Simon Vallily. Are you going to don the ginger beard for Richard?
No, I don't want to overplay the joke too much. I'm going to leave one. Maybe next time around.
No worries. All the best for the weekend.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.